And Johnny, let's move into the next topic as you've got your, see, I can't tell if it's off screen or on screen because I know there's a little bit of room up here, but I don't know how much. Yeah. You're just are you trying to go for my head?
I'm looking for the angle, but there's a microphone in the way.
Yeah, see, I'm well divided, or well guarded to where, yes, that's my microphone. Oh, man, that thing looks so badass, man.
Thank you.
So badass. But welcome in, if you're on YouTube, to the final part of the podcast. Make sure to check out all our other things. I will pitch it because I forgot to in the other segments. Patreon.com/MostValedPodcast. If you want to go ahead and support the channel, make sure Patreon.com/MostValedPodcast. You click that link. Bronze, silver, gold. At the gold dollar tier, you can be the first patron for the Rick and Johnny podcast. We have never, out of all the patrons, never gotten a call in. Be the first to come on a podcast and talk about superhero stuff and nerdy stuff and Star Wars stuff, everything under the Two Nerdy Sons with Johnny and myself. But Johnny, we're ending the podcast today talking about Spider-Man. And before we get into what I really want to talk about, here's what I want to ask you. Because you weren't on with Dave and I, because you were going to Wizard World for the early days, check out that segment if you haven't already on YouTube. What was your initial reaction when you heard the news that Spider-Man would be leaving the MCU? For now, there's a chance they can get a deal done, but I'm not holding my breath. What was your initial thought when you heard that?
Initial thought, obviously, was to blame Sony.
Well, of course, it's their fault.
It's always their fault. Fuck you, Sony.
So what? Disney wants more money because they're actually doing the job?
That's true. No, I don't blame them. So I did look into what the problem, what one of the problems was. And
Sony wanted more, or Disney wanted more money.
Disney wanted more. They wanted a 50-50 cut of the movie proceeds, where it's like, before it was like, I think a 90 cut where Sony got 90% of the movie proceeds, Disney got 10%, but then Disney got all the merchandising rights.
Yep, you're right.
Let's be fair, that sounds like a pretty fair deal to all in all.
I mean, the big thing has always been, I've said it before, you usually make more on the merchandising than you do on the box office.
Does that not sound fair?
Yeah, but when the last Spider-Man movie breaks over $1 billion, yeah, I'd want more than 10% too.
I don't know if I would hit for a 50-50 and say, we still want all the merchandising rights though. So I think Disney needs to kind of back off a little bit, push the buttons a little bit, ask for that 20-30% and the merchandising rights, but say, hey, at this point, we're welcoming any character you're willing to put in as well. Yeah, but you want us to include Venom into the MCU now? We'll include him into the MCU.
But here's also the thing. I'm going to say that when it comes to negotiating.
Yeah.
If Disney came out and said 30, Marvel would have said, if Disney came out and said 30, Sony would have said, how about 15? How about 25? How about 20? And then it would eventually get to the middle. Part of me, after thinking about this a little bit, maybe it's a negotiation tech by Sony where it's like, hey, offer 50. Are we going to get the 50? No.
I think you mean Disney offer 50?
Well, Marvel, Disney, same thing. Disney.
You said Sony.
Oh, I meant Disney then. Disney, hey, let's offer the 50. We know we're not going to get it, but let's negotiate down from there. Where it seemed like Sony said, nah, fuck you, we'll take them.
Yeah.
Which you always run that risk in a negotiation, even like in fantasy football when I'm trading either with Dave or such. It's, you don't want to offer too much of a one-sided deal because the other person might shut down. And that's what I think Sony did, of like, no. Fuck you. Or it could have been much like Disney said, we want 50. And then Sony might have said, well, how about 25? And Disney went, no, we want 50. All right, how about 30? No, we want 50. Like, that could have happened.
Yeah,
you and I were not in the room. But just to put it into a little bit of context, I would say, I'm looking up the last few Marvel movies that were not Infinity War, that were just the solo movies. And so Captain Marvel was the first one before Endgame and Spider-Man. That one made over $1 billion, just over $1 billion, 1.1 billion. That was also one where I almost am interested where it's like, hey, this is the first real big female-led character in the MCU. How much that contributed to it as well, like bringing people to it. Like one of the next ones I'm going to bring up, but Ant-Man and the Wasp was then after that. That was only 622 million, so they didn't break the billion mark. Then you have Black Panther, the other one I was talking about, 1.3 billion. That was huge. The first really big African American hero that it's like, here's my own movie. Mm-hmm. And then you had Thor Ragnarok, which made about $854 million. So it's like, for the most part, and if I even just continually go through to finish out Phase 3, Spider-Man Homecoming only did $880 million for that one. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did not break the billion mark. It had about $863 million. Doctor Strange did about $677 million. And then Captain America Civil War, that was kind of a joint one. So maybe you take this out of it. That did over $1 billion. So for the most part, the only solo ones that did over $1 billion, second Spider-Man film, Captain Marvel, first female female-led movie in the MCU, and Black Panther, first African. I'm going to say African hero because Wakanda is not American. Mm-hmm. African hero in the MCU. So I could see Disney being like, hey, no, we want more money of this. We're fronting it. Also, number 2, I want to ask you what you think about this. So there was a comedian on the Collider podcast, and they were talking about Venom and Sony, and basically what was said was that I'm gonna try to find it, but basically what was said is that Sony had a Peter Parker scene in Venom, but Kevin Feige and Marvel said take that out. Not even a, hey, we'd advise you to take that out. Like a straight up, get him out of this film. We don't want him in this Venom film. If that's true, did that rub Sony the wrong way?
Could be.
Of like, hey, we can't, wait, fuck, he's ours? And we can't even use him in our movie? Like, if we want a Peter Parker cameo? Do you think, I'll ask you the base question. Do you think it's true that Sony had a Peter Parker scene lined up in Venom, but Marvel made him delete it?
I'd say it's not impossible. I mean, I could see Marvel doing that because they were kind of they gave their tips to Fox with all the X-Men stuff.
Yeah.
And let's put it this way, they didn't listen, but how pushy was Marvel when they said they gave like helping hand or gave out some helpful hints, or was it like, no, don't do this?
Kevin Feige did help out with Venom.
He did?
Yeah, he wasn't credited, but he did help out with Venom. He may have said,
well, because maybe he, like, it could be for good reasons. Like, I'm not defending him. This is just saying, it could be good reasons saying, why would you put Spider-Man in there to take the focus off of Venom for his own movie? Or it could be like, no, get him out of this film. I don't want him tied in with this just yet.
Yeah, which
I can't blame them, but at the same time, that's really asinine when you don't own the property.
I just think it's one where Marvel didn't want Venom in its universe. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, we want Spider-Man. You can do whatever you want with your other characters, but we don't like Marvel and Disney wasn't opening the door for say, hey, let all your characters in. There's a bouncer to this nightclub. Only Spider-Man gets in.
Spider-Man, Vulture,
like Mysterio, Vulture. We will choose who gets in and
let
when.
him in too.
Yeah, but like we will choose who gets in.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't want. And now I think part of the deal to sweeten the pot would be, let's let Venom into the MCU now.
Maybe that did come up.
Like,
but,
hey, we'll let that tie in now. Now that we know that you guys can actually make a film like this.
And also, there's no secret that Sony, ever since the Spider-Verse was a thing, they want their own MCU with Spider-Man, and we don't have Spider-Man in that. We've got Miles Morales with Into the Spider-Verse. We've got Venom. No Spider-Man. So it's like, eventually I thought it would happen, but it's like, why did it have to happen so soon? You're on such a roll.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't want to waste the Tom Holland contract. Apparently, Spider-Man 3 is going to happen. Sony's going to do their 2 years of, hey, you know what? Like, in 2 years, so July, 2021? Because we just got it this year. July 2021, we'll get Spider-Man 3. Because it's like fucking clockwork. And the story is going to go off of Spider-Man Homecoming. They're still continuing the same train, just without referencing the MCU characters.
Yeah.
And without Happy Hogan. Jon Favreau had the best response at D23. When asked about it, he's like, well, I guess Happy's single again. He gets in a relationship, and not even that can last very long because of his relationship with Aunt May. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath that something works out. So Dave and I, when we talked about this, went into the Sony kind of side of things. We're going to go into the Marvel side because Marvel, Kevin Feige, it's no secret, he loves Spider-Man. When he during the Spider-Man Homecoming red carpet premiere, he was very excited about having Spider-Man in his MCU. In featurettes, he's even, the words have come out of his mouth, although I disagree because the greatest hero is not a Marvel hero, sadly, but Spider-Man's right there at number 2.
You're welcome to be wrong about your opinion.
Kevin Feige said Spider-Man is the greatest superhero, which number 2, not bad, but number 1 goes to Batman.
You're welcome to be wrong about your opinion.
There are some people out there that even think Superman should be number 1. Superman might not even crack the top 5. Yes, he will. I'm just doing that to stir up Superman fans because I like tugging at Superman's cape sometimes. But let's look at the Marvel side because Spider-Man was going to be a big piece moving forward. The Tony stuff was setting him up to basically lead the next Avengers unit. Norman Osborn, we had topics about, hey, who's going to play him? Is it going to be Hugh Jackman? We even talked about the Thunderbolts? Is that what they're called? Last week when we did our predictions for Phase 5. And really, Norman Osborn would be a big piece moving forward. Now they can't do that. No Norman. No Sinister Six.
No, that's
no Spider-Man.
Wasn't that the Dark Avengers with Norman?
I thought it was the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts with Thunderbolt Ross and Red Hulk.
That's right. Dark Avengers then. But still, you can't do that. No Norman.
Exactly.
So for you, if you're Kevin Feige, I know that they have contingency plans on contingency plans on contingency plans, and they've got 5, 6, 7 years planned out. But for you, if you're Kevin Feige, sorry I don't have a baseball cap for you to put on.
Oh, my bad.
And a suit jacket for you to wear with your T-shirt. But the thing, because he does that, which I love. I love that look. It's kind of like the techie Bay Area look of jeans, gym shoes, fucking put a blazer on, pop on that ball cap. Can't wait until I can pull that look off. But if you're the MCU, what does the future look like? What are your plans moving forward with Spider-Man not being a part of it? What happens?
Kind of a hard hit with taking Spider-Man away when they were trying to set him up as Iron Man. But I guess you get around that by doing Riri Williams. And I would make Shuri Riri Williams.
Yes. So now she's the Iron Heart.
Iron Man. And make it hey, she's taking over the science portion of the Oakland area thing that Black Panther.
The outreach program.
Thank you. I couldn't remember what that's called. Make her in charge of the outreach program. Make her start building okay, I don't want to be Black Panther and make her use like her big gauntlet things that she has as her repulsors.
She could.
And she can make the suit whatever color she wants. Maybe she likes Iron Man's color scheme. So
maybe she goes with the pink that Riri Williams has.
There you go, pink.
Because after she changed it, Riri has pink in her
suit
armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make her like change it up and be like, well, I'm not going to be my brother. He's Black Panther. But I mean, starts looking maybe some of the Iron Man tech to some degree and looks at like what his suit was like. And because it's like, well, someone needs to be an Iron Man and Iron Man's gone. So
here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking more of the villain side.
Okay.
Norman Osborn to me was going to be the puppet master that the MCU wanted.
Yeah.
Let him get everyone in place. He's got the power and the money. Basically that Lex Luthor type of character where it's like, I will persuade people to do what I want. When I can't do it with my words, I will do it with my money. And he's going to pull the strings. Since they can't use him anymore, I think they have a property now that they lean on heavily. And some of you may think, oh, well, it's the X-Men. I don't think it's the X-Men. And the reason why is it's no secret. I've said that a lot this segment, but it is. That Marvel is putting the X-Men on the back burner. They're not mentioning... They mentioned mutants at San Diego Comic-Con, but there's no real rush to bring the X-Men to the MCU.
Give it some airtime. Let it air out a little bit.
The reason being is, I don't know if you know this. I learned this weekend by researching into this topic, but Disney's stock prices actually took a hit after they announced the deal because of Dark Phoenix. They took such a hit because of Dark Phoenix.
Wow.
That they're just like, fuck it.
That's why I said they're letting it air out.
That's the bad part. They got to let it air out. But also there's the good part of Logan is still too fresh to reboot Wolverine.
Oh, for sure.
That was such the perfect ending to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine that it's like, we want that to air out too. So your air out analogy works. You got to just let everything air out. Let us forget about the bad a little bit. But there's another family that they should lean on heavily. And that's Marvel's first family. The one that Stan Lee created before he created the X-Men.
Alpha Flight,
of course. We're going Canadian. Wolverine's going to be in it too. He's going to touch pictures. Deadpool. Well, Wolverine's also going to touch pictures while he cries on his bed.
I want Deadpool to have a picture of Logan, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman go, all around me are familiar faces.
Which, by the way, Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds on Twitter.
Shut up!
Messing with Sony and Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Ever since this breakup happened is just beautiful. I love him. I love Deadpool. He is a great addition to the Disney family. And I can't wait until Deadpool is a Disney princess, because he should be. But the second point is the Fantastic Four.
I know.
That's what you lean into.
Yeah.
And for me,
Dr.
Doom. They have their big baddie. It's Dr. fucking Doom.
One of the most intelligent villains of the MCU.
Exactly.
Or the Marvel Universe in general.
You want to know why Thanos was such an intriguing villain? Not only did he have the cockiness, but it wasn't like you know how we talked about Titans earlier? It's not a Jason Todd type of cockiness. I
know I'm right.
I'm smarter than you and I know it. I'm right and I know it.
Yes.
Those are the most dangerous people. The ones that are smart, really smart, and fucking know they're really smart. Those are the most dangerous people in the world.
Villains that...
And with Dr. Doom, he knows it. He knows he's smart. But also it's a little bit different than Thanos, because Thanos had that brute kind of strength. Dr. Doom is strong in his own sense, but he'll try to beat you. I want to say we'll try to beat you with his mind either more so tactician-like. My plan will beat you.
He'll beat you in the proverbial game of chess.
Yes.
But if he has to, he'll get his hands dirty.
Exactly.
That's only if he has to.
He's not afraid to.
Not afraid to get his hands dirty, but prefers the other way.
But, like, that's what I'm looking at. Like, you've got Doctor Doom, but, like, I know everyone wants to throw Galactus in there. But, like, you can't throw Galactus in there until you get the X-Men established.
Yeah, wait till we get everyone set up and then start, like, you could start maybe hinting at it here and there. Like, eventually, like, Phase 5, do a Silver Surfer movie.
Would you do... I'll ask you this, because this is still... I think we have this one lined up. Do we? No? I deleted it? I'll ask you this. Should Disney go ahead... Not exactly how Fox was, but in the same sense, should Disney make a Doctor Doom movie?
That'd be interesting, especially to get a full-on movie of, like, his motivation. Because wasn't it, like... He kind of combined science and mystic arts to try to bring his mother back.
Dr. Doom?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
We talked about it a long time ago when Fox was still relevant.
Yeah, when they weren't. Bye-bye. His mother is Cynthia Von Doom. Let's see. So... Cynthia was a sorceress in the Zafario, a group in Romania, or Romani, which resides in Latveria. She trained sorcery, got married to Warner Von Doom. I'm trying to look. Oh, yeah. Cynthia's funeral. Oh, where is it? Yes, right here. Dr. Doom used magic to summon Mephisto and agreed to duel him in exchange for his mother's soul. So that was it. So he's got that sorcery background because of his mom. Mm-hmm. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, Morgan Le Fay, because I feel like I know that name. Is that more Doctor Strange? Is she a Doctor Strange villain, or is she just an Avengers villain?
She sounds familiar. I don't remember what.
So let's see. In this version, the character, she's a half fairy, half sister of the mystic King Arthur. Her elven heritage granted her immortality, and she uses this time to master the mystic arts. She occasionally tries to take over the world. She has been an opponent of the Avengers, and in the 70s was a major villain of the original SpiderMan comic. Whenever someone says mystic arts, I just think, oh, here it is. The character portrayed by Jessica Waller in the TV series Doctor Strange. So, yeah, she was in Doctor Strange as well. And Elizabeth Hurley portrayed the character in the 3rd season of MCU's TV series, The Runaways.
Okay.
So, yeah. When you say mystic arts, it's like, oh, Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Oh, you fought Doctor Strange. But, yeah, that's who I would go with, is Doctor Doom. Do you go with anyone different? Do you set up Galactus? Do you think that...
Wait for him to be way down the line. Get a lot of your other characters set up first. Get the X-Men set up. Get Fantastic Four set up. I would say make sure you got Silver Surfer somehow in the MCU as well.
Yeah, my other question. Going into the casting of Fantastic Four, there's a big push to get Jim from The Office. What's his name? Is it James Krasinski? Is that his name? Krasinski and Emily Blunt, to get them as Sue and
Screw it, do
Reed. Because screw it, do it.
Why not? They're already married. It would be a fantastic dynamic.
That's one. But also the type of Reed Richards that, because I was watching, if you guys probably know if you watch and listen to the podcast, I'm a huge fan of Charlie at Emergency Awesome on YouTube. And he was even talking about how, and I told you how Krasinski was apparently in the running to be Captain America before Chris Evans. Because I guess Chris Evans turned down the part 1,000,000 times. And Krasinski didn't take it because And many people say, like, oh, well, I wouldn't see him as Captain America because at the time he was Jim.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have been a fine Captain America. Like, Chris Evans, it's kind of hard to see anyone but Chris Evans. But
No,
like,
it is, yeah.
if it was him, I don't think he would have been a terrible.
I think
he would have been a more humorous Captain America.
Yeah, I think he would make a great, Mr. Fantastic.
Okay.
I think he would also, kind of bring that Jim to the table if he brings Jim from the office to the table a little bit with him.
But the thing with that is, are they going to go with maybe an old man Richards or an old man Reed Richards, where you see Krasinski now doing more serious stuff, where Reed Richards, this is an older version of Reed Richards. It's kind of seen some shit. And it's like,
Seen the snap.
Exactly. Like, I've seen some shit that I can't explain. And now that he's doing that drama and that drama, that might work out
I would say,
better for
since
him.
he can do both parts of it, play both parts. Like, he can be humorous when he needs to be, but like...
Because is Reed Richards humorous? I'm trying to think back to
mostly
the Fantastic
no. I think
Four that
because
came out when we were kids.
In there, yeah, but it was campiness was mostly the biggest thing with that whole movie. I think it would be have him like kind of play ebb and flow of that part. There's like scientist, he's gonna be serious, especially when he's diving into his work.
Yeah,
it's more of a nothing else. But he's got one when he's doing science blinders, and that's what life is. And a lot of the time, it's always everything is like nothing is. How do I describe this? Everything is logical. That type of person, where everything is science, everything is, and he's not really well in touch with his emotional side,
or anyone's emotions,
and that even further. But that would be great if they can play off that dynamic, especially since it's already a married couple. Of the hey, you're not paying attention enough to this part of it, blah 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 blah, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I mean that's to me that's where they go. Like, lean into the Fantastic Four.
I don't know about calling him old man. When you say old man, I think you're like 50, 60, like old man Logan. I think you're...
I'm thinking of like in the comics
35, 40 years old, where it's like...
I'm thinking more of... Because like in the comics you have... He's got in the comics the peppering of white on the side. And from what I remember, it's the white suit. In the comics, it's the white suit Fantastic Four. That's what I mean by old man. Like, because Reed Richards, when he was younger, when they first started, I'm not talking full head of brown hair. Maybe like whites on the sides. Like, from him, it's not really age. It's fucking stress that he puts on himself. And I would love to have him in there because now without Cap, without fucking... Tony Stark in this MCU, he can become that guy like he is in the comics, where if the Avengers have a problem that they can't understand or a problem that they don't know, who's the first person they go to? Reed. Hey, Reed, can you explain this to us? Kind of a thing.
Do you know what's going on?
Other question I'm going to ask you.
Can you science this shit for us?
Yeah. Other question I'm going to ask you. How many years do you think it is until we see the X-Men? Is it what I've seen is some people say 5 years, we will not see them before 2024.
Phase 5.
So you're thinking 2022 at the earliest, maybe 2023?
I'd say 2023 would probably be the earliest. Like I said, you gotta give that time to air out, mainly because of like Dark Phoenix and stuff like that, because that's the freshest. That's the thing people are gonna most remember. But also to kind of heal from Logan. And, like, try and get over the fact of, hey, Hugh Jackman's not going to be Wolverine anymore.
Yeah. I mean, what I think moving forward, they have their slate for Phase 4 planned out. I don't think they do this, but another thing I'll ask you that I asked Dave is if Sony doesn't play nice and Spider-Man is in the Spider-Verse, maybe not this time around because they'd have to... I'll ask this. Either do we get a special announcement of a Phase 4 movie that they didn't want to announce that we're going to get in Phase 4, and it ends up taking that space that we thought would have been Spider-Man, and Disney goes, yeah, have fun, Spider-Man 3, we're coming out with this movie. or the next Spider-Man movie they do, or maybe a Venom 2, like something. Because Sony didn't play nice this time and took the character back, are we going to see, within the next year or two, Disney do something where it's like, oh, you're coming out with a movie that day? Guess what? We are too.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
Bam, here's our big hitter. Go fuck yourself.
No, I think like that would be like the thing is maybe they're going to hold the Fantastic Four and go, oh, you're going to put a Spider-Man movie out? Here's Fantastic Four.
The first Fantastic Four of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's a game of chicken. Who's going to move? And it ain't going to be Disney.
No, they stand strong.
Well, and what would fuck it up totally, too, is like Sony to me is like that OCD person where it's like, this movie has to come out every 2 years on this weekend. It's got to be that. It's got to be. Can't be anything different. It's got to be the first weekend of July every 2 years. That's just how we do it. That's how we do it here. Like that is Sony. That like I'm gonna talk really fast, like
kind of a little neurotic.
Yeah, a little neurotic OCD. And Marvel's just gonna be that. I want to say chaotic neutral. I hope I'm using that right. Where it's just basically like, yep, bam, Fantastic Four. Fuck you. You gonna move? And that's going to send Sony crazy because it's going to throw off their jam. Do they move to another weekend? That would also be admitting they lost and that they're afraid of Marvel. Are they afraid of Disney? Hell no. They should be, because a Fantastic Four movie, I think, would blow a Spider-Man movie out of the water. And that's coming from a Spider-Man fan. Only because what have we seen from the trend of MCU movies? Unless it's a team-up movie or a first for Marvel. So, like, first female-led movie, first African superhero. Unless it's one of those, doesn't hit that billion category. I think Fantastic Four. I think XMen. I think both of those, the first movie they get, are going to break the billion category. Because it's going to be the first one. Will Deadpool? Probably not. Deadpool won't. But a Fantastic Four and a X-Men will probably break that billion mark for the MCU.
And yeah, I can now see Marvel, Disney going, have fun this weekend.
I hope Spider-Man comes back to the MCU. I'll be completely honest, Johnny. I don't want to see a Spider-Man movie that's Sony because I haven't liked the recent ones that I've seen. I want to ask you this to end it, and I know I'm asking a billion questions here. But I threw this out to Dave, and I want to throw it out to you. Do you think, with Tom Holland, if he's back in the Spider-Verse, do we get a live-action Spider-Verse movie? Do they bring in Andrew Garfield, bring in Sam Raimi, and maybe do an idea I thought about, which might be crazy, but you start the movie out animated, and you bring Miles into the universe, and something happens where he goes through that machine by Kingpin, and it's like, what the fuck? Why does everything feel so real? Do they do that? Do they do a Spider-Verse movie?
Feels weird, man.
Do they do a Spider-Verse movie with the different Spider-Men?
That'd be cool to actually see that. Just all of them live action.
The only one I'm questioning is fucking Tobey Maguire. Because how old is he? He's got to be late 40s, early 50s. I want to say early 50s, but that just seems too old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because Tom Holland is, let's see, how old are these fuckers? I should be nicer to them. How old are these guys? So Tom Holland is 23. Damn, he was born in 1996. Damn, I'm old. Are you looking any of these up?
Tobey Maguire.
Okay. Andrew Garfield is 36. Do you have Tobey Maguire's up there?
Doing it right now.
Okay.
He's 44.
Okay. That's
not too bad.
So 44, 36, and 23. So yeah, not too bad.
He can be the older Spider-Man.
God, there was a part of me that was like, really? Is fucking Tobey Maguire almost fucking...
is he 50?
That's what
Beth, is he 50?
I was.
Oh my God, is Jerry 50?
Holy shit, is Jerry 50? Well, it's like the whole fucking thing that blows our mind of like, do you remember how old Tom Cruise is?
Old.
Does he look 57 to you?
No.
Because he doesn't look 57 to me.
He looks like an asshole.
Well, duh, he's a Scientologist. But yeah, it's like, holy shit, man, whatever you're doing with your body, I got to do that too. Like, how old do you think The Rock is?
36.
He is at 11.
He's 47?
He's 47.
Holy shit.
In 3 years, The Rock is going to be 50. The Rock was born in 1972.
Wow.
Yeah, he's fucking old, and he looks fucking good for being a 47-year-old. So
yeah, really.
This is where we'll end everything. Let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section. Also, make sure to hit us up, patreon.com/Mosvale Podcast. That's how you help support us. Gold, silver, and bronze tiers. Make sure to also check out twitch.tv/Mosvale Podcast. Dave and I are going to be streaming WoW today, actually, right after this podcast. I'm going to eat, jump on, hit the stream. I was going to do a PTP after this, but I think, you know what? It's already 2 o'clock when we're recording this. We got in here a little late because Ricky decided to stay up till 4 in the morning playing World of Warcraft. And genius me was like, oh, we can come in at 10 o'clock because like I have everything scheduled out. We can knock it out quick. Did we get started right at 10? No, because Ricky didn't get here right at 10 because he's a lazy bum and is up until 4 in the morning playing WoW. Work is hard, I'll tell you. Work is hard, and I gotta go to sleep early for that, Johnny, because you can't miss that. You can't miss work. But make sure to check us out on Twitch. And then Johnny, I want you one more time so they can all follow you on Instagram. What's that Insta?
Thor_Odinson 9080 or just 90. Sorry.
Yeah. Thor_Odinson
90.
Cool. So go follow Johnny on Insta. Let's go get him some followers so we can show you all those cool cosplays and pictures from Comic-Con.
All those Thor cosplays.
For now, I feel like...
Oh, there's more coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a whole list.
Add to it.
We got a whole list that actually, for a group one that I just added you to during the podcast for you to look through.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I got some...
add what
some
you
fall
want to be.
reading. I got some fall reading. But let us know what you guys think down below. I want to thank you guys for checking out this podcast. And as always, have a good day, everybody.